welcome to an episode of Safari Minute. Today, we'll be looking at the mating ritual of a lioness in heat. Once the lioness has found a suitable mate, she will begin her approach.
Your eyes look so good. You're like beautiful.
Thank you.
You're like an Aryan degenerate goddess.
Thank you.
I love it.
Thank you. Thank you.
She will remain close to him so that there is no misunderstanding of what she wants.
But I'm Jewish.
It's okay.
And the Nazis hate me.
It's fine.
The alt-right people want to put me in a gas chamber because they're obsessed with the Jews.
I think they're just memeing on you, but it's okay.
If the male still hasn't shown any interest, out of an act of pure desperation, the lioness will display what she has to offer.
They're just jealous because I have big tits and an Ashkenazi IQ.
And she will do this despite what any others may think of her.
They're just jealous because I have big tits and an Ashkenazi IQ.
Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah.
You got it.
I'm going to tell you a secret. Like, do you know so many people in this movement who preach trad life are like fucking people on the side and like cheating on their partners?
That's
like,
so bad.
Like they're not even like really trad life.
Such
Like,
scum.
At last, our lioness has failed to spark a move or even little interest. It would appear she would have to fill her own void on this day.
They don't know what it's like to be me.
Hola, bonjour, hello, and welcome back to the Crazy Canuck channel. I want to begin this video by showing her in a positive light. That's right, I believe this was showing her in a good light.
your eyes look so good. You're like beautiful.
Because I think women wanting sex is a good thing. Now, I'm not saying sex with Loomer would be good.
Oh, hell no!
Don't feel bad for her. I'm sure Jim Norton finds her attractive. In fact, I can't help but think that if I was around her, I'd be constantly trying to find that Adam's apple. I wouldn't say that if she was in my room naked, that there wouldn't be any effect at all.
I was in the pool! I was in the pool!
Now some people might say that I'm like this because she's Jewish. But no. Nothing could be further from the truth. I wouldn't kick Gal Gadot out of bed, if you know what I mean. Unless she started singing.
Imagine there's no heaven.
Viewer discretion is advised. Neocons will dislike this video, as it's about their Loomy girl.
Trump-backed candidates are raking in primary wins, especially in Florida. From Laura Loomer to our next guest, Anna Paulina Luna, victories Trump touted on Twitter.
Yes, in case you weren't aware, thanks to Florida's 21st Congressional District, Loomer won an election and officially became a Republican. Naturally, the AIPAC affiliates were quick to congratulate her.
I mean, first of all, I think it's amazing she won her primary.
Agreed.
Yeah.
All right, everyone, we have good news today, which is that Laura Loomer managed to fend off no less than 5 other people and almost got a full 50% actually in the GOP primary down for one of the Florida House races.
The girl literally went from this.
It's mocked me and called me crazy, but what are they doing? I want to know what people are actually going to do. My life is ruined. Does anybody understand how ruined my life is? I'm sick of it. I don't want to listen to people tell me that I'm a conspiracy theorist. They don't know what it's like to be me. My life is ruined, Alex.
but at least the president is concerned about it.
Okay, he's concerned about it, but that's not going to stop the fact that I've lost 90% of my income. That's not going to stop the fact that I literally can't make a living anymore, even though I have a degree.
To becoming a Republican nominee.
Tonight was a historic, amazing night. I secured the Republican nomination in Florida's 21st Congressional District, and President Trump just tweeted about me.
And something tells me she wasn't hurting too much in between. I just can't place my finger on it. Knowing all your instincts are going off, but you just don't know why? Or like when there's something at the back of your brain that you just can't reach?
Give me some money to fund my lawsuit.
Yeah, as you can see, Laura never went hungry. In fact, I'd say she did quite well for herself.
Laura Loomer won the Republican primary in Florida's 21st district in a major upset, a double-digit victory. She was outraising her opponents.
But despite...
I look forward to her winning this congressional seat in Florida.
Give me some money.
She's outraised Congresswoman Frankel.
It all just wasn't enough.
Loser! You're a loser!
She can beat a do-nothing Democrat. Apparently, Floridians didn't want this sent to Congress. A proud Islamophobe. That's tweeted. And yet, to the surprise of no one,
Laura Loomer was canceled from, she was banned by basically every social media platform and even other services. And it was a bit excessive.
I think that Twitter should be pressured to re-platform her, along with all the others.
Why am I being banned?
So I condemn this. She shouldn't be banned.
I mean, I had this platform, and that was my main platform for communicating with people and sending out my content, and now I can't communicate. I've been silenced, and it's a total form of collusion, and it's a hit job. Give me some money.
so naturally, she handcuffed herself to a Twitter building.
Laura, why didn't you handcuff yourself to both doors?
Why did I handcuff myself to both?
Why didn't you? They're still getting in and out.
Tell a lie, tell a lie.
Well, I'm not trying to trap them inside the building.
It's a fire hazard.
That's a fire hazard, of course.
Bravo.
But the issue here is that Jack Dorsey thinks that by banning me as a Jewish conservative woman from pointing out Jew hatred, I was defending women, I was defending gay people, I was defending Jewish people from bigotry and from hatred, from homophobia, from anti-Semitism, and I got banned.
But in true rebel media fashion,
Is anyone giving me money to fund my lawsuit?
begged for your money so that she could sue on the basis of her banning.
It's a total war. No, I totally agree. People need to pony up and support you. They need to support us.
Just tweeting about it. I want people to actually do something. Okay, we need your money. We need your support. Help fund my lawsuit. Give me some money to fund my lawsuit.
Amazingly, her lawsuit ended up having 2 stunning defeats.
Now, let's talk about the 9-month-old terrorist, the little baby that was buried just a couple of hours ago. Let's talk about the human rights chief.
Who brings a child? Who brings a child?
She was in a tent, actually. She was in a tent. She was in a tent, actually. She was gassed, Laura. Do you understand the significance of that word?
Well,
she was gassed.
It sounds like really bad parenting.
Bad parenting. Bad parenting. Bad parenting. Really bad parenting. Really bad math.
My lawsuit against Twitter, which people have been so reluctant to share. I don't know why.
I'm sure the money that she did happen to generate solely went towards the lawsuit. I'm actually far more for free speech than Loomer is.
I live here in New York City. I'm an American Jewish woman, and my family members have been victims of anti-Semitism. My grandfather was arrested in Berlin for being Jewish, and I can't come to the ADL and report hatred and bigotry. It sounds like they don't really defend all Jews. It sounds like they don't really have the interests of all Jews, only democratic Jews.
I, for one, know just how cruel some people can be in the online universe. But unlike Loomer, I've never pushed for anyone's censorship. And I'm also not a fan of incitement rules or bans either. But people will say, incitement's a real thing. And I'd say, yes, influence is a real thing.
I just said, you know what Laura Loomer did may inspire many others just like me.
But nothing should change the fact that people, and yes, I'm including this guy, should be held accountable for their own actions. If you disagree with me, please leave a comment on how wrong you are. One can only imagine the mountain of hate a walking contradiction like Loomer could receive. Which makes this all the more comical.
They claim to be one of the leading organizations that protects people against defamation, against cyberbullying, against attacks, and anti-Semitism, but they won't even let an American Jew, a Jewish conservative American woman, go upstairs and have a conversation with them.
Oh, hell no!
When even the ADL won't take on your gold mine of anti-Semitism, it's probably a good time for self-reflection. Except self-reflection requires self-awareness, something clearly Loomer doesn't have.
Now, Laura, let's just jump right into the criticism we are getting, and I say we because I'm on your side, from the right, where they say, look, you guys purport to be about free speech. You're acting like social justice warriors by shutting down speech you don't like.
Well, first of all, we didn't shut down the speech. It was merely an interruption for about 25 seconds, right? So,
I just love Gavin's, bullshit some more, Laura, One more time.
You're acting like social justice warriors by shutting down speech you don't like.
well, first of all, we didn't shut down the speech. It was merely an interruption for about 25 seconds, right?
So they're talking about when Laura crashed the Julius Caesar play. And I honestly can't tell if she's trying to fool us or herself.
Well, first of all, we didn't shut down the speech. It was merely an interruption for about 25 seconds, right?
I'm sorry. I've been told that's just what I see. Here's the real footage.
Liberty. Freedom.
Stop the normalization of political violence against the right. This is unacceptable. You cannot
Get off the stage.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to pause. We're going to pause. Security.
This is violence.
Security, please.
I'm protecting the president's life. I'm protecting our Constitution.
Is it for what? Arresting me for what? I'm not allowed to stand up for myself? I thought this was America. Huh? Isn't this America? I'm sorry, I thought this was America.
Well, first of all, we didn't shut down the speech. It was merely an interruption for about 25 seconds, right? We didn't shut it down with fire and violence and profanity like Black Lives Matter and Antifa do.
You are all Goebbels! You are all Nazis like Joseph Goebbels! This is Goebbels! You are all Goebbels! You are inciting terrorists! The blood of Steve Scalise is on your hands! The blood of Steve Scalise is on your hands! Goebbels would be proud! Goebbels would be proud! Goebbels would be proud!
Come this way.
Sir, Goebbels would be proud! Sir, you can have it back. Goebbels would be proud. Goebbels would be proud. Goebbels would be proud. Nazis. Sir, you are Nazis.
And secondly, this is my constitutional right to exercise my free speech and my right to protest.
But this is free speech if you're so concerned.
To condemn political violence against conservatives.
In case you missed it, because of a rude interruption,
I'm using my constitutional right of free speech and protest to protest against the bastardization of Shakespeare, really, just an attempt to continue the normalization of political violence against the right. And it's absolutely absurd.
Aw, look at Loomer, being a beacon of light against political violence. You see, in the Loomiverse, storming a play that has a lookalike of her favorite president being killed is not only
protecting the president's life, I'm protecting our Constitution.
It was also about stopping
the normalization of political violence against the right.
Says the same girl that once tweeted 58-0 on a day that over 60 Palestinian protesters were killed. You see, that was the score at the time, in Laura's head. Can anybody confirm if any of those Palestinians were left or right-leaning?
I applaud you for what you've done, and you did it knowing what the risks are, and good for you. Thanks for being with us.
Here's Laura trying to steal the mic at a women's march.
The Women's March does not represent Jewish people. The Women's March does not represent Jewish people. The Women's March does not represent Jewish people. The Women's March is the real Nazi march. The Women's March hates Jews. 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 The Women's March hates Jews.
You guys purport to be about free speech. You're acting like social justice warriors.
Don't touch me! Don't touch me! Fuck you! Fuck you! I thought Jewish women were invited! You said that Jewish women were invited!
I'm on your side.
I said Jewish women were invited! You guys said that Jewish women were invited! You guys said that Jewish women were invited!
What, is this a communist country or something? I thought this is America!
It's only normal that the Loomer supporters lack the same self-awareness that she does.
She was outraising her opponents, and the collective screeching of the left is, well, it's upon us, and I'm sure many people are laughing about it.
Yeah, because no rational person would ever be outraged about someone like Loomer winning a nomination. Could you imagine the outrage from these same people if somebody spoke about Jewish people like that and won a nomination? Oh my god, the outrage would never end. Could you imagine the smearing campaigns? Oh my god, I can't even imagine. And it wouldn't even have to be anyone nearly as bad as Loomer. If someone just tweeted 1/10 of what she has, not even half, just 1/10, and these same very people would be losing their minds. But what about Omar, you say? Well, I have never seen one anti-Semitic quote or tweet from her, ever. So I fail to see how she's relevant here. Oh wait, I know what the problem is. I wasn't thinking like
True American patriots.
Yep, there it is. Starting to feel it now.
Ilhan Omar is allowed to tweet these heinous, vile things, while a Jewish woman who was the first to criticize her before she was elected, when people should have been listening, Laura Loomer, is banned from Twitter. And this is insanity.
So when something like Ilhan Omar, I want to stay on there, if I can, because this is why you got banned from Twitter, because you called
Ilhan Omar anti-Jewish, yeah.
That was the reason.
The tweet, yeah.
But she's anti-Semitic, and she's anti-Israel, and she, in my opinion,
well, she's anti-American.
Anti-American. That's a word that's just going to come out of my mouth.
No, she really is. Yeah, I mean that's what got me banned, of course.
But Loomer getting suspended for criticizing people like Ilhan Omar.
Isn't hate speech, but you know, me calling out Jew hatred is, apparently.
I personally believe Ilhan Omar is an anti-Semite.
Ilhan Omar's beliefs regarding the Jewish people over in Israel, basically the illegitimacy of the entire existence of the state.
And you hear people, especially the left and the Palestinians, calling for the return of the 67 line. They're calling for the annihilation of Israel, all right? They're calling for the destruction of Israel.
In 2012, you claimed Israel hypnotized the world. You have just predisposed yourself to people assuming you believe negative stereotypes about the state of Israel.
Does context matter? I don't know.
Actually, Felix, it doesn't here. To anyone that's familiar with the metric system, American patriotism can seem very confusing.
There is no one like us on earth.
You see, in America, when Israelis kill hundreds of civilians, not worth mentioning. But if you tweet about it, you are the devil. I would like to thank Mr. Poole for enlightening me on just how anti-Semitic her tweet really was.
Okay, I'm going to say it one more time for everybody. You don't get to decide what is or isn't offensive or how things are interpreted.
Just in case there's a Loomer fan still watching, here's some more Patriot porn.
Ilhan Omar is still on Twitter, and the brave critics of jihad and this narrowing of what's allowed in public debate are increasingly being deplatformed. And it is because these people on the left smell fear, Tucker Carlson, that they've been able to get away with it.
Well, I totally agree with that.
House of Representatives is set to vote on and expected to overwhelmingly pass a resolution rejecting anti-Semitism as hateful expressions of intolerance that are contradictory to the values that define the people of the United States. Now, though it doesn't mention her by name, the measure is seen in part as a rebuke of Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar in response to her recent tweets questioning U.S. policy on Israel, especially this one answering fellow Democratic Nita Lowry. Our democracy is built on debate, Congresswoman. I should not be expected to have allegiance, pledge support to a foreign country in order to serve my country in Congress or serve on committee. Now, that remark, alleging, some say, the anti-Semitic charge of dual loyalty among Israel supporters, has sparked condemnation across the political spectrum.
Fucking damn it, man. What the fuck? Is there nobody fucking pure in this goddamn fucking world?
More importantly, she came out later and said something about people expect her to pledge allegiance to Israel, and it's like, oh my god, dude, that is a direct mischaracterization of what's happening. Absolutely.
Well, first of all, let me say that this began at an event in Washington, D.C. that I personally was at. And when Representative Omar talked about that we shouldn't have allegiances to a foreign country, let's remember that during the government shutdown, the very first piece of legislation introduced in the Senate by Senator Marco Rubio was one to protect Israel from criticism. Now, if that isn't allegiance to a foreign country, I don't know what is.
And you fucking liberal pieces of fucking shit, you fucking assholes, fucking support this. Fuck you, you fucking goddamn degenerate fucks.
My life now, I have to worry about getting murdered by leftists and Muslims every single time I go outside.
It's disgusting. Oh, I know. They're so protected. It's so sick. So sick.
Accusations of dual loyalty.
There is no dual loyalty.
I would like to state, for the record, that this Jewish woman was asked this question in Israel. Therefore, this man has committed no crime. Although I would still stay the hell out of America if I were him. You ask that same question in the good US of A, and you risk being forced to listen to
that this echoes of language that has been used to marginalize and persecute the Jewish people for centuries. The recent accusations of dual loyalty call into question the equal footing of Jewish members in elected office and, by extension, all Jews living in America. I'm proud to vote on this resolution in condemnation of this rhetoric.
Do not underestimate American exceptionalism.
We're the most exceptional nation ever to exist.
When Loomer says,
I'm going to fight for you, I'm going to fight for America.
and is halfway around the world trying to deny reality for a foreign nation, that's just...
Oh yeah!
Even when Laura lets it be known that she would gladly throw her fellow Americans in jail if they purposely refuse to buy goods from Israel. Still, none dared question her loyalty.
America is the greatest and most exceptional nation in the history of the world.
Now, you might think that a Loomer is a rare sighting, but you would be mistaken. I have studied their culture, their history, their beliefs. I've had countless discussions with them. We laughed, we cried. I even keep up to date with what their tribe leaders are up to. I can confidently say that Loomer is just an ultra stereotype with narcissism on steroids. Please, allow me to elaborate.
I'm from Tucson, Arizona, and my father's from New York, of course. And you know, I wouldn't say that I had a like a super Jewish upbringing. I am Jewish. I was raised Jewish, but my family wasn't very religious, right?
Yeah. Raised Jewish but not religious? Right away, I know that's code for being raised in a very Zionist home.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, of course not.
I mean, it's fine if that's who you are.
Absolutely.
Obviously, Jews are individuals, no different than anyone else. But religious Jews tend to focus on Judaism, as non-religious Jews tend to focus on Israel.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Not at all.
She went on to confirm my beliefs.
I identify as a Zionist. I mean, I never heard the word Zionist while growing up in my own household.
No, of course not, as the word Zionist implies that they are the invaders, along with all the horrors that goes with it.
There was a time in which our people used to believe that the security is much more important than human rights, law, or any other value.
It's just easier for them to pretend that Israel was always there and only the world recognized it in '48. That's why it's so common for Jewish kids to first hear the term from outsiders. Which is a great segue into the next segment.
I spent most of my childhood in boarding school, actually, you know, from the time I was 12 to 18.
Because of course she did. I'm going to ask you to remember. You're going to have to think way back if you're like me. But do you remember that girl in your high school class that never questioned the teacher and solely believed everything they were taught? You know the girl. The one that if the teacher gave 1 hour's worth of homework, she would spend 2 hours on it. The girl was straight A's, but wasn't particularly bright. You know, a real tryhard. Whatever cause she had just learnt was the most important cause in the entire world, until the following week and another cause came along. Now picture that same girl in an isolated school, constantly being fed propaganda. Yeah, sure, they call themselves Hebrew schools, but I believe ultra-Zionist schools would be far more accurate. Years ago, I watched a lot of these videos created by Jewish kids who went to these schools, and a lot of them were mocking the blatant Zionist propaganda. And a lot of them were teacher interviews, discussing the big problems their students face when entering universities. Apparently, living in isolation while surrounded by bullshit most of your life can be a problem when joining the rest of the world. It's basically a stereotype at this point. Cue Loomer, who dropped out of college her very first semester. And at her second college, she said she was known as the campus Islamophobe. She unsurprisingly found a way to get suspended from there.
Self-appreciation for my Jewish heritage and also Israel that really inspired me to do the work that I'm doing today.
And by work, she means demonizing people solely based on their religion.
Does Fox News care that Ilhan Omar really is an advocate of Sharia? Does Fox News care that Ilhan Omar's use of the hijab really is her support of Sharia law?
You see, Loomer is all in. I mean seriously all in.
The Zionists are playing this as truly an all or nothing exercise. Because if they lose this one,
that's it.
If the American people ever realize what's happening...
Shit. I am so sorry. Obviously that was the wrong clip. I am just an old man with time and a weird hobby. My editing skills just aren't what they used to be. I thought it was a clip about how Laura is all in.
Well, how many dicks have you had?
No comment.
Like less than 30 days?
I can't count on my fingers because I don't have enough fingers.
All right, so we're how about on the toes as well?
I don't have enough fingers or toes.
That she does not want you to watch this video. I repeat, do not watch this video that I will leave a link to at the end of this one. Because Loomer knows, if you watch it, you will know what a living contradiction she really is. We're at the point of the video that YouTube Studios advised me to beg for your subscriptions. But this time, I'm going to do something different. While doing my research and grabbing clips for this video, I came across this great comment. I hope it brings you as much joy as it brought me.
Yeah, well, I don't need all these men who sit behind their Twitter accounts talking crap about me, because first of all, I have bigger balls than all these men combined.
I knew it. I knew it.
I knew